And we all know what a will is, right? A will is a document that provides for the distribution of your estate when you're deceased, including your wishes for minor children if you have minor children. It nominates a personal representative, a PR. Other states, they call them executors, if you've ever heard that term. And that person's going to be in charge of your estate after your death. They're going to be the one kind of handling everything, moving everything around. Again, let your PR know that you have nominated them in your will and where the will is. And for the will, we really want the original with an original signature. Because if we have that in Colorado, we can do informal probate. It's much easier and simpler and cheaper than doing formal probate with a copy of a will. Okay? And the will is really the only document where having the original is a big deal. Okay? The rest of them, you can use copies. And people should accept a copy. Okay? That's good. So if there is no will, again, these intestacy laws in the state where you live are going to apply. Laws can change. Family members typically are the ones who are going to receive your assets if you have no will, and maybe that's what you want, and maybe that works out just fine for you, and you don't need a will. If you don't have any family at all, if no one can find your family, your property might go to the state. It's called a sheet. Now, a lot of people think, oh, if I don't have these documents, all my stuff's going to go to the state. That's not true. Your stuff only goes to the state if these intestacy laws can't find anybody to give your stuff to. Okay? So they're going to look for family. They're going to look first for a spouse, children, parents, then they start branching out. They look for siblings, aunts and uncles, cousins, and they just keep looking until they find somebody. And then they're like, all right, here's what's left. So that's how that works. And again, just keep in mind, if you've got a spouse, it could be, if you don't have wills, they may not receive all your property. Now, if you have everything set up as joint tenants, you're probably fine. But if you've got a lot of stuff that you own by yourself and you've got adult children, your adult children are going to take a share under the intestacy laws. So if that's not what you want, you probably do need a will. If you have living parents, they can get a share as well, depending on the situation. So, please remember, all states prohibit the disinheritance of a spouse. You are not allowed to disinherit your spouse. If you don't like them that much, you should probably consider a divorce, okay? There's no way to keep them from taking, all of your property. They're going to get a cut, one way or another. By statute, they have a right of election, and they can demand a percentage of your estate, no matter what you say in your will. All right? Spouse and dependent children have rights, I think right now, up to $33,000. These numbers change. In cash and property, with or without a will, if there's a home involved, there's a small homestead exemption. It really does not cover the actual value of property in the state of Colorado. But there are things there to try to protect the family as much as possible from creditors and things like that. In Colorado, you have to have a written will. You can't pull out your phone and do a quick video from your hospital bed. That won't work. You've got to write it out, at least in your hand. You can do a holographic will. You've got two types of wills, and they require certain formalities. Because a will is a big deal. We want to know that you mean it. Okay? So if you don't want to do the full typed will, that's fine. You can handwrite, but you need to be clear that you mean for it to be a will. Okay? You want to say, this is my will. Or right at the top, will of Sarah Farrell. And you want it to be a will. You want it to give away things and talk about who you want to administer your estate. But really, it's just got to be handwritten, all handwritten, and it's got to be signed and dated. And again, it's got to be clear that you want this to be your will. Okay? You can also do an all-typed will. This is what lawyers like me normally do for people. We type up a will, and we get a couple of witnesses in, and maybe a notary, or I notarize a lot of my documents for my clients. And then we all sit down and we do this big execution ceremony, which sounds way more exciting than it is. And basically I make everybody say a bunch of stuff, and then everybody signs and initials, and I do my little notary stamp. And that original will, can be admitted to probate, and typically it's very hard to fight a will like that. Like, we did all the formalities. Like, obviously this person really wanted this, right? So, in Colorado, you do not have to have witnesses and notarization on a typed will, but it helps to know that, yeah, this was real, nobody faked it, you know. And either type of will can designate a guardian and a conservator for minor children. You can also do a separate writing for guardians. You don't necessarily have to have a will just to do a guardianship nomination.